Hey guys, thank you for joining me on mile 8 of 1,000 miles of the entrepreneur. Really excited about today's episode because as you can tell, I finally got the bookshelf so I can do those readings. Coming into mile 8, you would know that one of the main points of this blog is to show you from the beginning to an end. And from mile 1, I had no financial literacy whatsoever. I didn't know anything. Like Ty Lopez, and you see all these other online mentors and always talking about books. They're always showing all the books on their shelves, but the books are already there. You didn't see them from the beginning and then move their way up as they read the books. And basically the idea that the more books you read, the more knowledge you get. The more knowledge you have, the more ability, the better ability you have at creating a financial stress-free life. So I have the books right here. The first book that we're going to go over, and it's been a long time coming, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So this was the first book I read. I've actually finished the other book, The Richest Man in Babylon. But first we're going to talk about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now this isn't going to be a chapter by chapter analysis or anything like that. It's basically going to get the main key overall point of the book, because most of the book has a lot to do with mentality. It doesn't have a lot of advice on such as learn exactly what to invest in. More along the lines of just tips and a different way of thinking. All right, so basically Robert, his real dad, who he considered a poor dad, was a very successful school teacher. He had a master's degree. He might have had a doctorate degree, I'm not sure. But basically he was spending the typical American life in what Robert's called the rat race, where he would get money, spend money on liabilities, and didn't have enough money to ever basically retire or quit doing what he considered manual labor. Now his rich dad didn't have a college education, but he learned to increase his financial IQ and learned how to make his money work for him, such as getting into investments, real estate, stocks, bonds, and creating his own businesses. Basically, his idea was make your money work hard for you and learn how to create money, how to make money, and essentially how to make your money work for you. So I pulled a couple of quotes from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. All right. One of the main ones was, remember, the easy road often becomes hard and the hard road often becomes easy. I mean, how fucking true is that? I mean, most of the time when you pick the easiest thing at the moment, in the long run, it ends up being hard. Something I learned at the Johnson O'Connor aptitude test that I took was your ability to have what's called foresight. My foresight was relatively average. Now, even though it's something I'm average in foresight, it's something you can work on. It's something that I'm working on. I'm starting to look at things down 15 years from now, 20 years from now, instead of doing the easy thing of looking in the moment right now. So that was pretty cool. The main thing about Rich Dad, Poor Dad is he says, traditional education does not teach you about money. So when you're in high school, you learn about history, you learn about English, you learn about science, you're going to your PE class, but you might have one economics class, and most of the time you don't really care about that economics class, or at least for my experience. But I'm not realizing that it's the most important thing once you get out of high school. And that traditionally a lot of people, they go into college and they spend a lot of money on college, they get into debt, and when they get out, they don't know what to do with the money that they're going to acquire from the education that they got. Basically saying financial IQ is one of the most important things you can do. So his financial IQ, to increase your financial literacy, basically there's 4 different subjects. There's accounting, investing, marketing, and law, learning the law. So to give you an example, accounting is basically to understand your own payroll, basically to understand your own finances, to find out where your money's going once it comes in, to keep track of your money so you can respect your money. Second thing is investing. Learning how to understand market trends, learning about particular stocks, bonds, real estate investing, and get a mentality of what cash flow is, which I'm about to go over here in just a minute. And the fourth thing is law. Learn how to do with taxes. From what I understand, from what I've read, the average American person works from January to May just paying the government alone. And so he goes into a lot about the power of corporations, about how to build your corporation so that you can learn the law when it comes to taxes to minimize how much of the piece of pie that you're making actually goes back into the government. So learn a lot about the law, learn how to do your own taxes, manage your own money. Basically manage the money that you're making instead of having someone else manage you for it. Robert also goes into that there is 3 different types of income, and your goal is to increase the amount of income coming from the other 2. The first one is manual labor. Basically, you go to work, and the hours that you put in doing manual labor, even whether it's selling, waiting tables, being a school teacher, or even being a doctor, the money that you have to make while you're there is called manual income. Then there's passive income. Idea of passive income is you invest in real estate and you rent that piece of property out. And so you have cash flow coming in while you're sitting at home. You're not doing anything, but you're generating money. In this day and age, a lot of passive income is coming from online marketing, online consulting, e-commerce, those type of things. And the last one is your portfolio, obviously, your stocks and your bonds. So learning market trends and investing in the right stocks and basically taking a little bit of risk. So that was the main point of the Rich Dad Poor Dad from what I understood. A lot of the other stuff was a lot of fluff, which was interesting fluff, a lot of motivational stuff and a lot of mindset stuff. Okay, but here's one of the main things I got from Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was basically understanding cash flow. Now, this is going to be a very, very simplified version, because quite honestly, I probably don't even understand the complex version yet, because I'm only on mile 8, right? Now, Robert's definition of an asset and a liability. An asset is something that puts money back into your cash flow. A liability is something that takes money out of your cash flow. So, the idea is that the typical American, here's what they do. They have a job, right, that creates income. Okay, hopefully it's not blurry. The job creates income. Okay, and then once you get that income, you have to pay your expenses, whether it be your taxes, rent, food, mortgage, everything like that. So that money is going to go outside the cash flow. Now with the leftover money, what the average American does, and while the poor and the middle class, is they take that expense and it goes right into liabilities, and the rest of their money basically goes out. Liabilities being cars, TVs, expensive clothing, going out for concerts, going out eating, all that stuff. And so basically all their money ends up going out. Okay? Now, what he says the rich do is they invest in assets, and the second quote is they allow their assets to pay for their luxuries or their liabilities. So instead of letting your manual labor pay for that, he says if you have, let's just say, passive income of $400 and your monthly bills are only $350, now you have $50 that you can spend on your luxuries. That's not going to impede on your cash flow because that's money that's being generated, that's being invested in. So basically the idea is that you have a job, you create income, you get your expenses taken out, and the rest, instead of going to liabilities, they go into your assets, okay? Then your assets creates cash flow that comes back into your income, and it just repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. Then once you generate enough money coming from your assets, then you get liabilities coming out with your expensive, but you're still generating that asset column that's putting money back into your income, which is save, invest, stock, bonds, and real estate. Now, the average American, they go out, once they get money, they get a high-paying job, but the more money they make, the more they stay in the rat race because the more money they spend on, let's just say, a fancy new car, which now, once that car leaves the lot, now it's depreciated in value, and now not only do you have something that's going to lose money over time because you got to repair it, you got to put gas in it, you got to maintain it, plus you're paying monthly for it at an interest rate. It's a complete liability. One book I read a long time ago says how to be richer and smarter than your parents. It was paying for a car. Getting a loan on a car is probably one of the, when it comes to financial sense, one of the dumbest things you can do, because you're just going to be losing money each month, as opposed to if you just save up and bought a $1,500 car and then sold that for, let's just say, $800, but you saved up another $1,000, so now you can buy an $1,800 car and eventually just do it that way. That's how you create money. Another thing is luxuries, very high mortgage. He also said that he believes that sometimes a mortgage can be considered a liability, because if you have a high-paying mortgage that's making you go out and work every day, well, now you have to develop more passive income in order to get out of that rat race in order to pay for that mortgage. And if it's like a 30-year mortgage, well, it's going to take you 30 years before you can actually create a passive income from that mortgage, as opposed to buying a smaller house, being able to pay it off, use that extra money to buy another smaller house to rent out to like renters and generate a positive cash flow. Even if it's $25 passive income, at least that's income that you don't have to work for. So those are the main points of Rich Dad and Poor Dad. All right, like I said, I learned a lot. I highly recommend it. What I'm going to do is I'm putting it right here on the shelf. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon, coming tomorrow. And then after that, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. We'll catch you later for Mile 9. Thank you.